We're now moving to our language assessment and evaluation area. Our next speaker is an assistant professor at the Chulalongkorn University Language Institute. She earned her bachelor's with honors from Chulalongkorn University and her master's and Ph.D. from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Her area of expertise are educational media and materials, educational technology, curriculum design, instructional design, phonetics, presentation skills, and business English. Let us all welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Mattanee Palungtepin.
All right, so we are moving on to the last topic, which is redesigning language assessment in a virtual environment. Okay, and let's begin. Remember, a few months ago, we had to migrate to online platforms to teach and assess our students because of the COVID-19 outbreak. And it was abrupt, and there have been a lot of concerns, such as the increased digital divide and the teachers' and students' readiness for online teaching and learning, and also technical glitches, right? Digital divide and technical glitches and students' academic dishonesty. And one of the biggest concerns, as you know, is students' dishonesty, right? And teachers have tried many different ways to prevent cheating, such as having students sign a pledge before an exam, locking down a student's device during an exam, or using time limits and randomizing choices and questions to reduce the risk of cheating. Okay, but still, students may be able to use other devices. They could still exchange answers with peers within the time limit that they have, you know, and you know, it's really hard, right? And also on the test day, something unexpected might happen: a power outage, a problem with the internet connection, technical glitches. You know, I remember my colleagues and I were so worried, and we prayed before the test date. Okay. And why is that so? Even though we have tried so hard to fix the problems, to reduce the risk, what we've got at the end of the day was actually not quite satisfactory. Why is that so? Okay, so as you can see, if you have students take a test in a traditional classroom, right? You can see that it's easier because you can see the whole body of the students, right? So it's difficult. It's more difficult. Well, it's possible to cheat, but it's more difficult, right? But for face-to-face, for online learning, online assessment, online testing, it will be more tempting for the students to cheat. Yeah, because you can see only the upper half of the body of the students, and students can use other devices. Yeah. Okay, and let's have a look at the concept of affordances. And this is related to the use of technology in teaching and assessment. And this could provide some insight and answer the question why it is so difficult to assess students online. Okay, so actually the term affordance has been used widely in the field of English language teaching, especially in the use of technology in English language teaching. For example, Mark Warschauer mentioned the term a lot in his book, and also there are other scholars who use technology in the field mentioned the term. Actually, the term was originally coined by James Gibson. He's a psychologist. Back in 1977, he coined the term affordance to refer to features that allow or afford us to do something. Okay. And then later, Donald Norman adopted the term and used it in the field of product design to refer to features that suggest how an object should be used. Okay, so let's have a look at the cover of his book, The Design of Everyday Things. And if you look at this picture, you can see a coffee pot, right? And does this look like a normal coffee pot that we are using every day? Well, actually not, right? You can see that it's different. If we have a coffee pot like this, it would be really difficult and unnatural for us to use, right? Yeah, actually this coffee pot was originally designed by a French artist, and it's called Coffee Pot for Masochists. Yeah, if you want a difficult life, feel free to use it. Yeah, and this tells us something about the design of a tool. The affordances of this tool, this product, do not allow us to pour the water naturally. Yeah, so it's difficult, right? Yeah, okay, so this has important implications for our online teaching and assessment. So teachers have a responsibility to select the most appropriate tool for a job and to make the most creative use of the affordances of the tool that they have chosen. Okay. And we have to look at both the function of a tool that we are using, what the tool's features can do. Okay, so we have to focus on that, what the tool can do. And we also have to look at the usability of that tool. The features, ease of use. So, you know, we have seen this a lot, right? When we use some tool and students don't know, oh, where the buttons are. So Ajahn, where are the buttons? How can I get to that page? Yeah, so it's really hard. Some tool is not user friendly. Okay, and also you have to look at the function. What each particular tool allows us to do something, and what it does not allow us to do, or whether it would allow us to do with difficulties, right? Okay, so we have to really think of the nature of that tool, the design of that tool. So let's come back to this picture again, so we can see the differences, right? Okay, for online teaching and assessment, you will see only the upper half of the body of the students, and it's really hard to see the students whether they are typing, chatting with their friends while during the test, or whether they are doing something else, right? So it's hard, it's difficult. The nature of the tool doesn't allow us to see the whole body of the students, and also the tool doesn't allow us to do the job, to do tasting and teaching if there is no internet. So we need the internet and we need electricity. So what if there's a power outage on the test day? And if we really want to monitor the student, like their hand, you want to see their hands, we might need another device with a tripod or something. But will the students have the equipment, right? So the digital divide is another important issue, right? It's a gap, and we can see the increased digital divide during this crisis as well. Okay, and now the important question is there a better option? Okay, so why don't we reconsider assessment? How do we know that someone is good at something? Okay, let's think about it for a moment. How do we know that someone is good at something? Maybe your colleagues or your students, or or even when you want to find a good husband or a good wife, then how do you judge that person? Do you need a lot of evidence, right? or when you have a friend, you wanna make friends with this person, then how do you know whether he's a good or he or she is a good person? Then we need a lot of information, right? Sometimes we don't need formal assessment, but our brain collect evidence of that person. Yeah, evidence. Okay, so what kind of evidence? We can get evidence from discussions with that person, a talk. You can talk to that person a lot. You can discuss with them. You can talk about many different things to know them better, right? And in the context of teaching and learning, you can have students discuss what he or she has listened, what he or she has read, what he or she has written. Yeah, so discussions or about news, about anything, right? And interviews, you can interview the students. Okay, so what have you gained from this lesson, for example, or what is your favorite part of the movie that you just watched? Yeah, so then you know students better, and you know their performance, and it's better online because the online tool allows you to talk with them, right? And then it will be more difficult to cheat when you have students talk, because the nature of the tool allows you to talk with them, like when you are using Zoom, right? And it's difficult for them to cheat when they're talking. Yeah, because if you interview them, it would be difficult for them. They wouldn't have time to chat with their peers, right? So we have to look at the nature of the tool we are using. So right now we have limitations. We can use only some tools. So we have to think about alternative assessment. Okay, so we also have participation in activities. So you can use games like Kahoot, right? I know that you're familiar, many of you are familiar with Kahoot. And you can use Kahoot online too, right? And you can also use Mentimeter, just like what Ajahn Pornpimol did earlier today. Mentimeter.com, right? And there are so many other tools. WordWall is also good. You know, students can spin a wheel online, and you can have them talk about a particular issue. Yeah, so participation activity. So you have to collect data of students. You have to collect the information, a lot of information about that students online. And presentations, of course. Yeah, and reflections, right? So after doing something, you can have students reflect about something that they have learned. And homework, yeah, part of it. Yeah, you know, students can copy others' work, right? Homework. So maybe after doing homework, you can have students discuss about it in class with you. It could be in a small class or in a bigger class. You can have small groups sign up in different slots, and then you can have them discuss about the homework, for example, and take home exams as well, similar. And traditional high stakes exams could still be used, but it's not really recommended because we have already seen it's difficult, right? And it's really hard to monitor whether students are cheating or not. And we want to be fair. We want to be fair for everyone, right? I know that we are not looking at students as prisoners, but we want to be fair. We want justice. Yeah. So that's why we are trying to make it fair for everyone. Yeah. And we also want the test to be reliable as well, right? So everyone can trust us. Okay. And we actually need a wide variety of tasks and activities to collect a lot of information and evidence about the students. Okay. And actually, students can collect all the data, and teachers can also observe the students and then take notes and all kinds of data can be considered students' assets. Actually, I listened to Russell Stannard's webinar last week, and he used the word digital assets and e-portfolio. Okay, so I think that's really nice because online it's easier for students to collect digital assets. For example, when they're doing Mentimeter or doing discussions online, and when they post something on an electronic discussion board, they could capture the screen and put everything together, right? And they could build a website, like they could use Google Sites, and there are also other website building tools, right, that you can use, Wix.com, and there are many others. And students can use those websites to create their portfolio, e-portfolio, and collect everything, put things together, put their digital assets together in their e-portfolio. Yeah. So then there's so many tools, right, that you can collect the students' data. Video conferencing, Padlet, Google Forms, Google Docs, and Google Docs is very nice too because you can see students writing real time, right? Real time. I used that last semester with my students, and it was really nice because I can give my feedback right away, and the students deleted what they wrote and then fixed it, and I said, oh, that's right, that's great, you know. So it could be interactive, right? Online platforms could be interactive. And Mentimeter, Mentimeter, Ajahn Pornpimol used that earlier, and social media platforms. So if students say, Ajahn, it's really difficult for me, it's really hard for me to use Zoom or other video conferencing tools because my internet connection is not very good, it's not stable at home in my dormitory. Then you can say, oh, what about live video call with me? Yeah, or maybe live video call would be better, would be easier for you. You know, you have to be flexible, right? You have to ask students. If students have difficulties, then you have to be flexible. What about live video call, live group call? Can you use that? Okay, and Kahoot, quizzes, word wall. So these are synchronous and asynchronous tools that you can use. So synchronous, you know, happening at the same time, right? And asynchronous, not happening at the same time. So you can use both kinds of tools when you teach and assess students online. Okay. And how can we collect so much information and evidence? You may ask, oh, you have only one semester, right? Yeah, to assess students. Okay, so why don't we look at assessment as part of learning? Okay, this will help fix this. Okay, so as you go through the semester with the students, you can collect a lot of data as you go through the semester, and students can practice as they are assessed at the same time. Okay, so assessment is embedded in the learning, and the assessment could be frequent. Assessment could be in every class, and it could be ongoing. And I think it would be better if you use low stakes testing. Yeah, because students will have a lot of opportunities to perform, and then you should be flexible as well, because some students may not be good at technology. So you may have to ask them, okay, so if you're not comfortable with Zoom, what about other tools? And you can have like a small group discussion with those students. And flipped learning. I think a lot of you are familiar with flipped learning already. And I think it's useful because it would save class time for interactive activities. Because outside class, students can watch video clips, read textbooks, and learn about basic concept that everyone should know. But then in class, you can interact with your students, you can have small group discussions, you can play games, you can test them, right, in class. So you are practicing with them interactively and testing them at the same time. And you can take notes. You can have like a clipboard with a piece of paper, maybe with a list of your students roster, and you can write down, take notes in every class, and you can give them participation score as well, right? And it should be active. It should be authentic. You can use authentic materials. There are so many authentic materials online, right, that you can use. And multimodal. If you have read some literature about multimodal literacies, you know that it's important for students these days to produce multimodal work. Yeah, because it's the skills of the 21st century that students need. So if you have students produce work, then maybe you can encourage them to include pictures, and then give oral presentation using different modes of presentation. Yeah, and that would be useful for them. So not just using the target language, but it would be used together with other modes of meaning. Okay, and then teaching and assessment should be tailored, personalized, and student-centered. Okay, so you get to know each student, talk to them, get to know them, and then you'll be able to give them a grade that is fair, right? And you have to be creative using different tools and engaging, just like what Ajahn Pornpimol said earlier. And also, I think it should be non-threatening. Okay, and I used to do an activity called Conversation Cloud earlier at Cooley. We have an activity called Conversation Cloud, and students came together and then just talk, have a conversation, and they relax. And then from the survey, it turned out that students really loved it. They felt that they got a chance to speak. And it's nice that the environment is non-threatening. And also, lastly, I think it would be nice if it's integrated, interconnected. What does it mean? So, for example, when you have a student write about something, then you can have them talk about it. You can have a writing conference with them. Yeah, you can have them reflect on their writing. You can give interactive feedback with them. Yeah, so that should be nice. And you can have them watch a video, you can have them discuss some issues and then read and write about it, make it integrated and interconnected. Okay, and okay, so this is my last slide for the first part. Okay, so you can have students collect digital assets in their e-portfolio, and you can talk with them, get to know them, get to know each person, know their profile, and then everything could be integrated if you can. I know some courses may focus on a particular skill, of course, but you can, for example, a writing course, you can have them write something and have a writing conference or talk with them, have them reflect on that, right? Yeah, so yeah, I think it would be possible if you use this kind of alternative and formative assessment when you assess students online. And then hopefully, at the end, we'll be able to make fair and reliable judgments as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajahn Mattanee, for that very insightful talk. At this point, we're now moving to our next part. So after laying the foundation of technology in linguistics, language instruction, and language assessment, we are now proceeding to the ways how we will be able to reinvent our teaching and testing. So let's have back our speaker, Ajahn Dr. Sujinat, for the linguistics part.
Okay, For my first round, I introduce you to overview picture of integrating technology into like a teaching pronunciation. And now we're gonna move to like a details or give you some examples, cases about this method. I assume that we all as a teacher have to evaluate pronunciation of our students. What should we do? And what most teachers do is try to categorize or try to make a decision whether the pronunciation is correct or incorrect, in the sense of pronunciation, not accent. When we try to make a decision like this, it's like we try to make it very, categorize everything into two types, like a black and white. But is it true that what we judge as incorrect pronunciation is not underlined with improvement at all? Sometimes the performance is grayscale, like they show some improvement. But without technology, sometimes we cannot make a decision clearly what is correct, incorrect, or in between, like in progress improvement. So when the answers are not exactly black and white, we have to look for like a fine-grained details about evidence. So this is what sound spectrogram can help you. Let me give you an example of this research is the effects of length of residence on L2 English phonology. It is very interesting. It is a phonetic investigation of 6 Hong Kong students acquiring English as a second language. They are studying abroad English-speaking countries like Canada, USA, and Australia. Their first language is Cantonese. The focus of the study is to investigate the effect of length of residence on L2 English pronunciation of each student. The students were recorded 3 times during the first year abroad. The first one is before immigration. And when the 6 months passed, they were recorded again. And the last one, the third one, is at 1 year. And they would like to see like a continuum improvement of speaking. And the 3 parameters were studied in this study: speaking rhythm, distinction between E like a tense vowel and E like lax vowel, and alveolar flap or tapping of Northern American English is like a better, water. And what I'm going to illustrate you today is the last one. This is a sound spectrogram underlying from the recording of the particular speaker. It is for from the first speaker. You can see that for the word better, better. At first, before immigration, this participant pronounce is like better. How do you know that? We can see like here. It is stop sound, like a pause in the sound spectrogram, and we can see like a noises is aspiration, like also the first time that the sound is recorded, it is like better. But for the 6 month part, the aspiration disappeared. It's only like the stop and the gap, but it is like a voicing bar is the bottom line. So the pronunciation is better. But for the 1 year of residence, you can see the duration, the length is shorter. So it is very similar to like a tapping of American English. So it shows the tendency toward Northern American flap like a better. So we can see that with the sound spectrogram, like a technology to visualize the sound or pronunciation, you can see like a fine-grained, like a detailed like improvement or something in progress about pronunciation, which is very important for students to practice and improve themselves. So we can see that audio-visual method, or some in the academic version is an acoustic spectrographic instruction, is through the visualization. It's like spectrogram reading. For teacher and students, no need to measure like acoustic phonetics research. Just like only read the sound spectrogram, you can relate like the sound wave or the picture with the way they pronounce sound. It could be easier. And for the teacher, they can have like effective ways with the use of digital tools. They are empowered by digital tools. And for students, which is very important, they can have like self-assessment and self-feedback. I think it is very important. It is very suitable for like online teaching during COVID-19. As we know that teaching pronunciation or speaking online is quite difficult. Like as in student in the class could be like 20 or like 30. It is quite difficult for one instructor to inspect every student's pronunciation individually online. So it could be better if a student can get the feedback by themselves. They know what should be like in the sound spectrogram. See like the support, there's a friction, and they can get the feedback. So it's more flexible. And in the position of a teacher, they can see like improvement. Like as I Mattanee say, sometimes we cannot just like a final product, but the in-progress development or the improvement is also important for learning. So by this way, we can encourage or improve student engagement in online teaching during like a lockdown, COVID-19. And another example is also interesting because the subject are pre-service English teachers. Like the speaker, their native language is Spanish. It is they have two groups of participants. The first one is pre-service English teacher with training about how to read sound spectrogram, and the other without the training. The linguistic parameter that they want to study is E, like tense verb, and E, like so flex verb, which is also a problem for Thai student. This is E and E. For Thai student, we perceive it like an E, like a long vowel, and E, like a short vowel, because in Thai phonology, the vowel length is contrastive, like B is to hit and B is to blame. But in English, it's not just like the length of the vowel, but also the vowel quality, like the tongue advancement or tongue height. So it is also a problem for Spanish speaker, like bean and bend, beat and bit. Yep. So this is what they would like to investigate whether if the students, like a pre-service teacher, receive like a training in how to read spectrogram, can they perform better? And the student result, we can see that is to improvement in production, like experimental group is pre-service teacher with training and control without the training, and the pre and post stage. We can see that improvement in production for both valves after acoustic spectrographic instruction training when they are trained to see, like to observe and to see like what should it be like in a visualization. They understand more and they pay attention more about production. And not only production, it also perception. They could do better in both production and perception. So what I suggest that audio visual method is like one example of what I want you to keep in mind that technology is very important in this way. And I felt this paper is very interesting. The writer talked about how to choose technology to meet pronunciation, teaching, and learning goals. The first one is appropriateness to learning objectives. It should support the teacher in accomplishing specific teaching tasks. No one method for all purposes. It could be like tailor-made method for each task or each lesson, or what the teacher wants to teach or want to help the student learn. And it should help students reach their pronunciation goals, like pronunciation rules correct, incorrect, or the accent is native like, and the sound slogan can help you to many steps to the degrees of your expectation. And it should be like the quality and accuracy. So with training, we can see that the stop sound could be like this, the vowel tends like wow. So the method or the way you use to provide accurate information so that the feedback is useful for students to improve themselves. And the method is useful for teachers for evaluate and their students' performance objectively. And it should be practicality of use, like it's easy to learn and use. Some tool which is very sophisticated is very good, but it's too difficult for teachers and students. It's discourage them to use it, right? And the last one is, which is very important, the cost. It should be free, inexpensive, or it is already available, right? So these four components are important when you design the technology to help you to teach pronunciation, or for a student what to use for practicing and make improvement on your pronunciation. So back to the title, again, Reinventing English Language Teaching and Testing in the Midst of Transformation. I try to illustrate the digital transformation change our education process very much. Sometimes teacher nowadays is not expected to be only one person or one man show to teach students. Sometimes teacher could be like an inspector or facilitator or someone who help to facilitate the learning. And the student is more independent. Now, student is like an independent learner. They can learn with at their pace and place at that time, and and a lot of information and methods and a lot of tools are available online. So with technology and basic linguistics, basic linguistics is like to see the language in scientific way more objectively, but I want to know like a basic because it should be useful, it should be friendly for students and teachers. And technology with two devices, it can help learning English or learning any subjects in a digital transformation more successful. Like it is measurable with technology and some knowledge about linguistics to see the language performance pronunciation objectively, and it is developable. It can develop because you can see that like it give a feedback, and it is more useful for students to develop to improve themselves. And one of the things which is very important is goal-oriented. So students seem to be the person who customized or tailor-made their learning experience. So, and this is what I want to share with you today about linguistics with implication for English language teaching. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ajahn Dr. Sujinat, for that very enlightening talk about reinventing teaching linguistics. Let's now move on to our next speaker to cover the area of language education, Assistant Professor Dr. Pornpimol.
Sorry, I'm still muting my microphone. It happens. Okay, so this is the second part of my presentation. So this round, I'm going to talk about how to design, how to reinvent the lesson, right, for this online learning. So let's start by this. So when we talk about the new normal, there's a term, a new normal around the world today, right? When we talk about, when we accept this as a normal, right, even new normal, it means that we are at the point of no return. So if we are back to the classroom, somehow there'll be the trace of using technology in our teaching, I'm sure. Okay, so how can we adjust our instruction to fit in what we call the new normal here. I will start by, what is the characteristic of the task design that might help you, let's say, enhance the desirable agents that I had mentioned beforehand. So what is the task preferable characteristic of the task? First is meaningful task. What does it mean by meaningful? Well, authenticity is considered, and when the students perform the task, they can feel related to their real life. This is what we call meaningful task. So ask, don't tell. About this point, I have seen let's say the quote from Confucius. You know Confucius, right? And I like it a lot. Well, he mentioned that the truth had 4 corners. You as a teacher open one corner and let the students explore the answers of the 3 corners on their own. Okay, so learning through discovery, and focus on students' experience and interest, and communication over accuracy. At this point, the grammarian might not be happy with that, but then again, we can accept, we know that, if we focus much on accuracy, sometimes it can impede the ability to communicate. Okay, so there we learning by doing, by John Dewey. Focus on confidence building. Okay, encourage interest in English. Tasks are open-ended, meaning that you can set the goal, but there are many ways to reach the goal, right? Many many activities that can reach one goal. Not too rigid about the task. That should be only one option. And then high exposure to English in students' potential zone. This I would like to emphasize that you need to design something in their potential zone. What does it mean by potential zone? We mean that it is the reachable zone, like I+1, I+2 by question. If you provide them like I+7, well, instead of learning, they might feel frustrated. Okay, so I will show you the lesson design for online learning. This is a case study from my students in my class in the project. I found this one interesting. So first, in the project, when I start teaching the students how to write a plan or how to plan their lesson, first thing first, they need to know their learners. So they need to analyze the learner. In this project, it will be the 16-year-old girl, right? Student from Pathalung, down south province in Thailand. And her level of proficiency is at beginning level. She's a beginner, and she is interested in English conversation, and the topic will be like giving directions, and that she's familiar with the Google tools and basic technology. So this is the planning. When you know the learners, you can plan. Then this is interesting design of the tools using. Again, when I guide the students, let's say, how to use the tools in their online teaching, I do not focus on the fancy or expensive tools. It's just a tool that you can find in everyday life. In this case, they use asynchronous tools like Google tools and synchronous tools. Now, from Mattanee that this is synchronous is real time, asynchronous is a delay in the response. And what I like most about this plan is they use Google Street View, right? Google Street View is the tools that you can search, you can, and this is a very powerful and meaningful tools here for giving direction lesson. Well, they use the location of the learner, right? The Google Street View. So it's so meaningful for her to tell directions because she feels related and she knows her location best. Okay, so let's see the short clip about that.
Maybe you go first. If it have problem, we can fix later on. Good morning. I'm not sure.
Hello, student. My name is Tenika. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, teacher. My name is Palungtepin.
You are from Pathalung, right?
After I have sent the worksheet on Google Classroom, and so today I would like to check that you can remember. Can you please tell me these 3 words?
Go along แปลว่าไปตามทาง
Okay.
All right,
allow
great.
the corner
So now I'm at the hospital. I would like to go to your home.
turn right
Turn right, here, right?
along
Go along.
turn right
Turn right, here, right? Turn right.
turn right
Turn right. Okay, here, right?
turn right
Okay, this way to your home. So she is a very beginner for using English. So we crop some parts that she might, I might, having some extra conversation.
Okay, so now you can see that, just a simple tool, but depends on the design. It can encourage students to speak and, she feel confidence and, to say something like that because she knows best her location, right? Next, I will show you some tools that can promote engagement and motivation in learners. So characteristic of the tools, free tools is free online. This one is Join My Quiz, okay? So people get used to Kahoot more, but then again, these use the same system, but they have like more interesting features in the, Join My Quiz. When I go observe my students who are the pre-service teacher at schools, many of my, students who are doing their practicums, they use Join My Quiz to like call attention of like the students. What is good about this is that you can use both in the class and online. Okay, so let me share you this.
So now we would like you to open joinmyquiz.com and enter game code 297612. We will give you around 1 minute to 2 minutes due to the time restriction. To 97612. We're going to count down soon. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 1 people left. Okay, so it's time. We're going to start a game. Oh, announcement. It's
Can we just continue?
wow. Very good at this.
who can do 100%, right?
Yeah, it shows the person who did it 100%, around 8 people.
Oh,
Okay.
we can't see the answer on the screen.
The person who did it will see it on the screen. The person who participated, and we will show.
Okay, so this one is like, one of the things that, that you can use in the class. It can, include many participants at a time, and you can use in like, in an assessment way that Ajahn Mattanee has mentioned before. So one of the things that I would like to remind you is that, the online tools are efficient and effective. It depends on how you design, right? This is all I always, tell my students. The quality is not depending on the technology, but it depends on how you design the use of technology in your lesson. Hence, technology cannot replace a teacher, because when I went to have been to many seminars, there's always the question, will technology replace a teacher? No, technology is just a platform, but it depends on how you, design. One last thing that I would like to mention is like the issue of when you teach online, there's a lot of the, the topic or the issue of digital divide, right? So what I recommend here is that, if you can use blended learning in the concepts that it could be like face-to-face, if you are able to do that, plus with the online platform, or you can do like the offline materials with the online materials combining together. It doesn't have to always be online, right? And this is, I say this on behalf of every teacher here. Well, I think we feel the same, right? We miss the classroom, but whatever, we cannot do anything right now. So go with online and make your best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajahn Pornpimol, for that wonderful talk. We're now moving on to the last part, which is the language testing area. Let's welcome once again Assistant Professor Dr. Mattanee. Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Ajahn. Okay.
All right, and can you see my screen? Okay, just checking. Okay, I'm using two screens, so it's a bit complicated. Okay, all right, so now, as you can see on the screen, we are going to do some case discussions. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit more interactive in this part. And I would like you to scan this QR code. Okay, so can you see the QR code? So please scan it to do some discussion. We are going to look at some cases, some real cases, because I've got a lot of questions and I've seen cases, real cases that are a little bit challenging, I would say. And it's really a headache, in terms of assessment. Okay, so once, and then after scanning this QR code, you'll be brought to, okay, let me show you a Padlet interface. And for Padlet, you can click on the plus button and then you can add comment. Okay, let me show you the first case, just a moment. Okay, here's the first case, speaking. So it's an English course focusing on speaking, presentations, meetings, and there are 500 students enrolled in the course. Each section, there are about 25 students in each section, and the tool that is used is video conferencing for assessment. And students' concerns are the possibility of a power outage, the unstable internet connection, and other technical glitches. So what should we do? Okay, so you can click on the plus sign under the column case 1, And then you can add your comment there. And if you're not satisfied, you can also click on the 3 dots, and then you can delete it or change it and edit it. Share the palette screen. Just a moment. Waiting for a while for you to add your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas. Okay, I can see answers coming up. Okay, as we can see on the screen here as well. Okay, so Joey, can you see the palette screen?
Yes, Ajahn, I can see.
Yes, okay, all right. Case 1, okay, we've got a lot of ideas here. Okay, students could narrate a story and make a video of the story and share in the forum. Okay, use asynchronous tool for presentations, audio recordings, yes. Yes, break them into smaller groups so that it can be more manageable. Yes, of course. Yes. And hello, yes, hello. Using recorded video, then have discussion later on. Yes, yes, that's possible. And asynchronous assessment and revised assessment like reflection. Yes, all right. That's good. Students can record their video and upload them on social media platforms like YouTube. Okay, yes. Right, and students might record their presentation. Okay, a lot of recordings. We may plan to also teach about what to do or say when there are some connection problems. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Like, can you hear me now? Or, there's a problem with the internet, you know, like useful expressions. I think we can provide some options for students. Yes, that's right. And adjust the rubric. Yes. Provide slots and ask students in pairs or in groups to sign up. Yes. I like that one. Yeah. Offline projects. Yes. Such as speaking portfolios. Right. Breakout rooms. Right. Of course. And I have this problem since my country has shortage of power supply. What I do is to find time where the majority of the students can join in and the rest can watch the recording later. Yeah, you know, you've got ways to fix the problem. That's nice. Pre-record the videos. Okay, live group. Yeah, you can have options, you know, for students who are not familiar or who think Zoom or other video conferencing tools require a lot of bandwidth. Then, you know, you can offer some other options for them. Like, what about Line group call, or what about other tools? Yeah, all right. And asynchronous tools, break class into groups. And yeah, and if there's something, if there's something wrong, you know, you can redo it, right? Yeah. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. That's very nice. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to my presentation. Okay, so now we have come back to our case, right? Okay, yeah. So I like a lot of your ideas. Those are very nice. So we can use recordings. We can use frequent assessment, giving them a lot of opportunities to perform. And there could be assessment in every class. We can have students sign up for small group practices. Also practice assessment. We can offer them choices, being flexible, just like in the presentation that I mentioned earlier, and creating a non-threatening environment, and using low-stakes assessment. Okay, that's nice. Thank you very much, everyone, for your thoughts and opinions. Those are wonderful. Okay, so let's move on to the second case. All right, so case 2, writing. Okay, so a writing course is a writing course for sophomores. And actually, I got this question from one of my colleagues. Okay, so I think it's really practical, and it would be nice to get a lot of ideas from you. Okay, it's a writing course for sophomores. Writing different types of paragraphs and sometimes practice skills such as summarizing and paraphrasing. And there are 500 students enrolled in the course, and there are about 30 students in each section. And teachers' concerns are the students' academic dishonesty. I know that you might say, oh, we shouldn't worry too much about this, right? Because we should give students some respect. Yes, right. We should give students respect. I think so. Yes, and but we should design our assessment, right, to make it fair and reliable, so that students who pay a lot of attention to the course feel that it's fair for them. Yes. So how can we deal with that? How can we do our best to redesign our instruction and also assessment? Yeah. So let's hear from you. Okay, I can see answers coming up here. Okay, using Turnitin to validate the originality of their work, and the writing task should be about their own opinion, so we can know which one is coming. Yeah, right. So make it personalized, make it personal, make it like that, and have a clear rubric. Okay. Talking about plagiarism. Yes, that's right. Use a program like Turnitin, yes, to check the students' work. Tell students that their output will undergo plagiarism test. Yes, limit the writing time, assign the students to choose what, and assign different topics to be summarized. For instance, yes, you can use other free software programs. They can check plagiarism, limit time of writing and their own opinions. Freestyle writing, yes. Have a discussion after submission, yes. A lot of ideas, that's nice. Yeah, have a discussion after submission. You will know whether they have done their work, and even though they copy others' work, you know, they have to put some effort into it to be able to talk about it, right? Yeah, that's good. And sometimes I use originality check. Yes, in Google Classroom. All right. Yeah. And as we do this, this doesn't mean that we don't respect students, right? This means that we do respect students, but we wanna make it clear that our test is reliable and also fair for students who pay a lot of attention into the class, right? What they have learned. Yeah. Okay, and have a discussion after submission is good because it's integrated, as I mentioned earlier, and also it will give them opportunities to add something, and you will know whether they have done their work themselves or not. Okay, all right, and yes, ask students to write a reflection paper as a follow-up. Yes, that's very nice. Give topics concerning their personal matters. That's right. And for a very, very big class, well, when there are a lot of students, you know, each section can have very specific topics. So teachers can monitor that, right? Okay, that's good. All right, so that's good. That's very nice. Thank you very much, everyone. I love your opinions. They are very useful. Thank you. All right, so let's look at case 3. All right, so case 3, listening or reading. Okay, an English course focusing on perceptive skills. Okay, just a second. Can you see my notes? Those are the answers. Well, anyway, just a second. Let me change the screen. Okay, all right. Okay, so now this is case 3, listening or reading. It's an English course focusing on perceptive skills. Okay, and there are 500 students enrolled in the course. 30 students in each section. And normally during examination, the recordings will be played for the students in each exam room, and the reading materials are distributed at the same time. For online exams, these are done with difficulties, and teachers are worried about the students' academic dishonesty. And question, when the course is online, how can we assess students effectively and prevent cheating? Okay, so let's think about it. So actually, I took some notes in my speaker's notes for some possible answers, but I want to hear from you. Okay, so we've got some opinions right here. Probably allotting time on every item could help. This would give them very little time to cheat. Yes, kind of hard to think of this one. Yeah, this one is hard. So I have some possible answers. They might not work, but you know, we can try them. First of all, you know, you may have your assessment integrated. After having students listen or read something, you can also have them talk about it. There could be discussions after listening or reading something. And you can use authentic and frequent assessment, encourage them to listen and read a lot, you know, extensive reading, right? Yeah, and then we can have them choose their own books, magazine, articles, YouTube videos, and then have them talk about what they have read or what they have watched. And they can also collect their assets and put them in their portfolio. Like, for example, they can, you know, like collect their reflections and put them in a portfolio, reflections regarding different materials that they have read or watched. And you can use flipped learning as well. For the basic content, we could use video clips so that we have time for interactive communication in our online class. Okay. And if you use frequent assessment, that will help too, because you can test students as they practice as we go along. Okay, all right, so let's move on to the last case 4, experiential English. Okay, so this is a foundation English course for all freshmen. Okay, aim to develop the 4 language skills in and outside class. And outside class, we're gonna have students do extra activities as well. Okay, like reading, watching movies in English. And there are a lot of students, like 4,000 something students. And each section has about 25 or 35 students. Question is, what should we do to assess them effectively in a virtual environment? Okay, since we don't have much time, let's do this last one quickly. Case 4, no ideas at all? No thoughts? Okay, let me refresh my screen. Okay, I can see one opinion. Oh, 2, 3, okay. That's good. All right, so ask them to write with the reflection. Yes, that's very nice idea. Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, I wrote that in my one of my possible answers. And okay, let students apply their language outside the class and bring back their prototype. Yeah, that's nice. And formative process-oriented assessments along the way. That's right. Okay, yes. So you can ask them to write their reflection, or you can have them speak about it, right? So oral and written reflections would work. And then formative, frequent assessments, yes. Ask them to write a journal. Yes, of course, that's wonderful. And again, just like what Russell Stannard suggested, you know, you can have them collect their digital assets and put everything in their e-portfolio, right? Yeah, document their experiences in the use of language, ask them to write reflection, design assessment that integrates all 4 skills. That's nice. All right, thank you very much, everyone. And that will be all. And now over to Joey.
Thank you so much, Ajan. Thank you for that wonderful talk. I suppose that everyone is hyped with the various activities. So let's have the next, hold on, let's see. Okay, all right, so I'd say that today's talk is quite complete in itself, right? Not only because of the 3 areas, but also the actualization of...
Can you stop sharing?
Oh.
Thank you.
All right. Let me share.